Stocks push higher into uncharted territory after scaling to a new high today. Healthcare, real estate as well as energy are the key gainers, even as FMCG and capital goods are the soft spots in trade.
Sugar stocks are having a sweet day today after the government permits the use of sugarcane juice, B&C molasses for ethanol production. Allowing grain-based ethanol producers to buy rice from the Food Corporation of India may not, however, prove to be a booster.
The MSCI indices August quarterly review is set to draw near $5 billion in inflows into the Indian equities. The MSCI Standard Index will see 7 new additions and 1 deletion, while HDFC Bank alone is likely to see buying of $1.5 billion.
The aviation regulator puts SpiceJet under increased surveillance on safety concerns. This even as the airline places 150 employees on a furlough for 3 months owing to the lean season, reduced fleet size, and for the organization's stability. The stock slides in today's session.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi tells attendees at the Global FinTech Fest that the best for the industry is yet to come, but flags cyber frauds as a risk that can temper growth and must be checked. Hello and welcome to Business Lunch on this Friday afternoon. I'm Nisha. With me, as always, is Hormaz. So, Hormaz, it's a green on the screen day and looking good. Nifty 50 continues to be at record smashing levels. So, let's take stock of market at lunch hour today. Nifty 50 holding strong with 0.35% gain at 25,230 odd levels. And it is a record breaking day yet again for Nifty 50. When we talk about Sensex, it's sitting with a gain of over 250 points. Bank Nifty is the one which is outperforming the key indices by a slight bit. It is holding on with 0.5% gain. So it is led by some of the blue chip banks that we are seeing such a momentum in the market. 0.75% up on the mid-cap universe. And that is the one which is stealing the show today. And that's also impacting the strength of the market with advanced decline ratio heavily in favor of the advances today. On my screen, the Pharma major Cipla, as well as PSU Power Grid, and some of the auto companies are the ones which are doing well in trade from Nifty 50. Hormaz.
We've been saying that it's been a green screen for 12 days now, and that's a record of sorts. So Sudarshan just told me that this is the longest winning streak for the Nifty in 30 years, on over 30 years actually. The last one, the 12-day winning streak that we had was way back in 1993. So it's good going for the Nifty. Actually, good is an understatement, but yes, great going for the index now above 25 to nearing 25,250. Final trading day of the week. No surprises for guessing. You're going to end the week on a positive note, and these gains are likely to be accentuated as well, considering the MSCI inflows that will kick in towards the closing parts of the trading session today. Almost $5 billion being poured into the markets towards the close of trade, and leading that pack within the MSCI adjustments will be HDFC Bank, and that is the one that is going to be receiving inflows of anywhere between $1.5 billion to almost $2 billion in today's session. Pull up HDFC Bank as well. I'll tell you what that is doing. It started off higher, cooled off. It's now nearing the lowest point of the day, but still holding on to some of the gains. Also need to keep an eye out for some other names like RVNL. That is also receiving inflows to the tune of nearly $220 million in today's session. RVNL is also in the news because it has signed an MOU with Patel Engineering for various projects, and it has also won an order for almost 200 crore rupees. It is the order that it has won is RVNL. But we'll focus on the MSCI Index Rejig first, with inflows of nearly 5 billion, as I just mentioned, as part of the August review. Vivek is joining in with more details on which other stocks other than HDFC Bank are likely to receive a lot of flows. Vivek, over to you.
Well, that's right. Like you mentioned at the start of the show, one of the reasons why we're seeing a 12-day long winning streak as far as the headline indices are concerned is in anticipation of this over 40,000 crore, $5 billion inflow that we've been mentioning and highlighting since the last couple of days. Now, change is effective September 2nd. So in the last hour of the trading session today, you will see the actual inflows and outflows and the actual additions and deletions of the constituents. So which are the, first of all, the most important thing to keep in mind is that India's weightage as far as the emerging market increases to almost 19.8% from 19.2% in the May review. This weight increase comes in at the expense of weight reduction in China, Taiwan as well as Korea, and India, simply on the back of its outperformance versus its emerging market peers, is seeing its weight up quite significantly, and that is leading to the increased inflows as far as the entire day is concerned. Now, the MSCI Standard Index, look at the additions: Zydus Life, Prestige Estates, Dixon Tech, OFSS, Oil India, Vodafone Idea, RVNL. These are the stocks that will be included into the Standard Index. Significant inflows in each one of them. One deletion, that is Bandhan Bank, outflows of a little over $100 million expected there today. Now, along with that, like you mentioned, HDFC Bank close to $1.5 billion of inflows today. And another important development as far as the Adani Group stocks, post this particular review, MSCI would be treating all the Adani Group stocks at par with the other group stocks. So there could be some changes as far as the November review is concerned for the Adani names.
All right. So some of the stocks that have been mentioned, Hormaz, over there by Vivek, and inflows carry a lot of weight. A lot of inflows come into those particular stocks which have been included. So this MSCI index rejig is going to mean a lot when it comes to the money flow as well as some of the stock momentum. Stock
momentum indeed, and Vodafone Idea is the one that I wanted to highlight because that is the stock that is almost at the lowest point of the day before I walked into the studio today because of the Supreme Court verdict that was lined up in today's session as well. There were some arguments made in court as well, and Vodafone Idea now 2.5% lower, trying to recover from the lows of the day, but that is also expected to see inflows as it is also part of the inclusions in the MSCI indices. So we'll keep an eye out on Vodafone Idea as well. But the one segment that has been doing very well in today's session are sugar stocks, and those are also buzzing in today's session after the government permitted use of sugarcane juice, BNC molasses for ethanol production. Vamakshi is joining in with more details. Vamakshi, it's a sweet day, I guess, for sugar stocks.
Well, absolutely, it's a sweet day for sugar stocks indeed. The first notification that came in from the government, they said that they've lifted the restriction and have now allowed ethanol production from cane juice, B heavy molasses and C heavy molasses for ethanol supplier 2024-2025, which means that this will be effective from 1st of November. This is a big relief and a big positive for the sugar industry. And why is that? Because the distillery segment was doing very well until the ethanol policy that came into effect in the Q3 of FY24. Ethanol production also generally receives a better margin profile as compared to sugar sales. So this is definitely a big positive for all these sugar companies. We have Balrampur Chini, Shri Renuka, Dalmia Bharat, Dhampur Sugar, Bajaj Hindustan, Awadh Sugar and Triveni Engineering, and many such names that are in focus today on the back of this development. But there's another notification that came through, that is on the grain-based ethanol manufacturers. The government has permitted the sale of up to 2.3 million tons of rice from Food Corporation of India or FCI. This move is sentimentally positive for Global Spirits, India Glycols as well as Triveni Engineering's grain-based ethanol. But why is it only sentimentally positive? That is because the companies are unlikely to reap any benefit, as the last e-auction price was 31 rupees per kg for rice as compared to an earlier price of 20 per kg. Ethanol from FCI rice also currently is priced at 58.5, while maize-based ethanol is priced much higher at 71.9 per kg. This still renders maize ethanol to be relatively more profitable as compared to FCI rice-based ethanol. So therefore, analysts largely believe, that is, this is coming in from Elara Securities, and they believe that there may not be any financial benefit to the grain-based ethanol manufacturers. Other than that, we also have Praj in focus today, and that is because the company offers end-to-end solutions to set up bioethanol plants. Approximately 10% of global ethanol production market share is what the company has, excluding China, of course. So just to sum it up, positive for sugar companies, neutral for some of the grain-based ethanol manufacturers, and positive for Praj Industries.
All right, Vamakshi, thanks so much for giving us the whole host of stocks which are being impacted by the government's measures, and also how much is the impact on an incremental basis and on a material basis. All right, moving on to the aviation space, and SpiceJet is under pressure today after the DGCA puts the airline under enhanced surveillance after an engineering audit reveals deficiencies there. Sudarshan, our colleague, is right here with all the details and the impact on the company. Sudarshan, tell us.
That's correct. So SpiceJet stock is under pressure, has fallen up to 6%. 2024, I would say, like from 52-week high that stock had hit in February, it's down almost 20%. Now, what are the reasons? So it's on the back of two news flows. First, company has placed 150 cabin crew members on furlough for 3 months, and the reason for it is company says the step is taken in response to current lean travel season and reduced fleet size with long-term stability of the organization in mind. And the second news flow is aviation regulator DGCA has put airline under enhanced surveillance, and DGCA says special audit conducted on August 7 and 8 revealed certain deficiencies in the operations, and that's the reason it's been put on surveillance to ensure safety of operations. Now, apart from this, if you look at the recent earnings that company has announced for Q1 FY25 and Q4 FY24, company has reported profit for second straight quarter, but revenue continues to see a decline, as well as total assets as of June 2024 were up 17%. At the same time, total liabilities had fallen 14% year on year. But liabilities are now more than rupees 6,300 crore. That is higher than total assets that company has. Even in the auditor's note that had come along with Q1 earnings, auditor says accumulated losses as of June 2024 amounts to almost 7,700 crore, and this indicates the existence of material uncertainty, and it casts significant doubt about company's ability to continue as a going concern. Along with earnings, company had announced fundraising of up to rupees 3,000 crore via QIP. So the key question is, will the QIP money be enough? As far as company is concerned, it believes that it is enough, and it says fresh infusion should enable the airline to expand and unground its fleet, enhance operational capabilities, settle liabilities, and improve market competitiveness, and funds will stabilize overall operations of the company as well.
More turbulence for SpiceJet. Darshan, thanks a lot for that update. Moving on then, the Supreme Court judges also heard Vodafone Idea's curative petition over its pending AGR dues earlier. Ashmit is now joining in with more details. Ashmit, tell us what transpired there.
Well, a couple of aspects to clarify. One, it's not a verdict. It'll be a hearing of a curative petition. And two, as far as curative petitions are concerned, they are heard in chambers. In-chamber hearing essentially means that not open to the public, not open to the media, and also not open to the lawyers. Now, that is something that Vodafone Idea as well as Bharti Airtel were concerned about. They appeared this morning before a bench of the Chief Justice, and they said that given the scope of what they call are arithmetic errors, which are patently available, which are patently visible, and also pointing out, given as how the impact of this judgment that it will have on the telecom space, they had asked for an open court hearing, a hearing in the open court which will allow access to the public and also importantly allow access to the lawyers to help argue their matter. Now, what's critical now is the apex court has not given any indication as to which way it's leaning, whether or not to allow an open court hearing. But that in-chamber matter continues to be scheduled at 1:30 p.m. That's when the apex court will take this case up. It'll be, again, just to remind our viewers, it'll be behind closed doors. And that's when the bench will be considering. There are two possible outcomes. Now, one is that this curative petition gets dismissed outright. The other is that the Chief Justice and the bench decide that this matter warrants further hearing and then leave it open to an open court hearing to decide the fate of this curative petition. For the benefit of our viewers, in this curative petition, the essential point that telecom companies are seeking to drive home is there are clerical errors, there are administrative errors, there are computational errors in arriving at that final demand. These arithmetic errors need to be corrected. That's one key argument. The other, they argue, is that when this penalty was levied on the AGR amount, they were not even given a hearing. This was a violation of principles of natural justice, and they want a relook of both these aspects. So critical this. We'll, of course, begin to get more clarity once the apex court concludes its proceedings in the curative petition.
All right. Thanks so much, Ashmit, for getting us all the details. All eyes would be on that AGR petition. And Hormaz, you were talking about Vodafone Idea as a stock. It is under pressure. And of course, AGR dues petition being heard. is a positive development. At least a resolution could be clearer. Whether or not they get some sort of a waiver in that will be a huge amount. But apart from the MSCI inclusion, what's also impacting this company is the another tariff hike being built in. The previous tariff hike will start showing results from the next few quarters. And on the other hand, it has also to raise funds from SBI after doing an FPO worth 18,000 crore rupees. So they've got the equity right. They need to ramp up their fund and the capital for expansion and also for debt servicing by taking a huge amount of loan and have a total corpus of 45,000 crore rupees. So there are many points which are really impacting, all of them in the works. So there is tentativeness that is seen in this particular counter, but one by one, clarity will emerge and therefore the stock will settle going forward. So this is one stock to be watched out for. But when we talk about this particular case, the AGR case, the Telecom Minister Jyotir Aditya Scindia has said that the union government will not interfere in the Vodafone Idea's affairs. And speaking to Money Control, Scindia also added that the government would like to have a competitive telecom sector in the country. And remember that the centre owns about 23.8% stake in Vodafone Idea. Here are the Telecom Minister.
Vodafone Idea has got its own professional management, and therefore what happens in the financial and operational workings of a company is their business and not our business as a ministry. At this point of time, as I mentioned, it is the management of the company that has to decide what practice to follow. We would like a competitive telecom sector, and as the Ministry of Telecom would like, at the end of the day, the best quality of service and choice, as you mentioned, to customers.
Well, more news from the aviation space. The Vistara Air India merger will go ahead after Singapore Airlines received approval from the government for foreign direct investment as part of the planned merger. Vistara is now set to run flights as an independent entity till the 11th of November. Danish is here to tell us more. Danish, one step closer to the merger.
Well, the decks have been cleared for the full merger of Air India and Vistara as Singapore Airlines has received the regulatory approval for FDI and Air India. Post this approval, Singapore Airlines will hold 25% stake in Air India. And with this, the brand Vistara is fully set to merge into Air India from 12th November onwards. For bookings and travel till 11th November 2024, nothing changes, but for Vistara flights on or after 12th November 2024, the flight numbers will change to Air India. From 12th November onwards, all Vistara aircraft will also be handled by Air India. From 3rd September specifically, customers that want to book flights departing on or after 12th November via the Vistara website will progressively be redirected to Air India's site to complete their bookings. On the other hand, the aircraft, schedule and operating crew will be unchanged until early 2025. This merger was in the making since November 2022, and after the merger is completed, Air India is expected to have a market share of 20%.
Thanks so much, Danish, for all the details. It's an important consolidation of all the aviation companies for the Tata Group. With that, we'll slip into a short breather on the show. But post that, we'll talk about the CNBC-TV18's poll on first quarter GDP growth expectations ahead of the official release today. Let's find that out right after the short break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Now, the Indian economy is expected to have grown by 6.8% in the first quarter of the current fiscal. That is during the April, May and June quarter. That is according to a CNBC-TV18 poll. The numbers will be announced later today at 5:30 this evening. Lata Venkatesh is here with a preview.
Well, the poll did indicate 6.8%, which is quite low compared to the 8.2 year ago same quarter, that is April, May, June quarter. And even the quarter ago, Jan, Feb, March quarter was a good 7.8. In fact, if it does come at 6.8, this will be the lowest in 5 quarters. The last time, and the first time in 5 quarters that we're doing even below 7%. That was, the Jan, Feb, March, the October, November, December of 22, we had done 6.8. Now, why is it low? Agri is not going to be all that bad. It's about 2.9%. But industry will do well at around 8%, and services is expected to do between 6 and 6.5%. Services is the one that is the drag because a part of the services were impacted due to the elections, and even more so because of a particularly hot summer. It's an El Nino summer, so a lot of hotel and hospitality services didn't do well. And of course, even manufacturing got impacted because of the elections and the government's lower capex. The full year GDP, according to the Reserve Bank, is going to come at 7.2. In fact, the Reserve Bank has a fairly strong 7.1% assumption even for the current quarter. So we will have to see. A good number of economists are even expecting 6.5 to 6.6. And then there is the RBI sitting at 7.1. We have to see where exactly the truth lies. So interesting number at 5:30 today.
That's right. All eyes would be on that. Thanks, Lata, for giving us a heads up on what to expect today. But all eyes would be on the GDP numbers. With that, we'll slip into a short breather on Business Lunch. More news on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch. Now, speaking at the Global FinTech Fest, Prime Minister Narendra Modi commented about India's growth in the fintech space, and he hoped that India's fintech innovation would be a remarkable feat in raising global ease of living. Listen in.
मुझे विश्वास है भारत का फिनटेक इकोसिस्टम पूरी दुनिया की ईज ऑफ लिविंग बढ़ाएगा और मुझे मेरे देश के युवाओं की टैलेंट पे इतना भरोसा है और मैं कहता हूं बड़े विश्वास से कहता हूं आवर बेस्ट इज येट टू कम। ये आपका 5वां समारोह है ना, तो 10वें में मैं आऊंगा।
The best is yet to come. Some inspiring words from the Prime Minister. Well, I guess we should say the best is yet to come on our channel as well. So we call time on this edition of Business Lunch from Nisha, me and the team that put this show together. Thank you so much for watching. Midcap Radar takes the action forward.